Dun, dun, dun. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Shuey. I am the CEO and founder of Happily, the largest network of freelance, virtual, and live event producers. We're now 100% virtual because of coronavirus and stay at home. And if you are organizing events and wondering if you should have an event in person this fall or this winter, the answer is no. That's my PSA for the moment. Every Wednesday at 2 p.m. PST, I bring in a friend and a colleague to come up and talk about something that's happening within our world today, here on my LinkedIn page, as well as on Happily's YouTube page. And today, I actually am bringing up a mentee. So I am an alumni of USC, the University of Southern California, and I was asked if I could mentor someone from my alumnus school, from the Annenberg Communication School, and I said yes, of course, for the summer. And Brianna Devons is that person. I'm going to bring Brianna up. Hi.
Hi.
And so yeah, so I thought that having a conversation with Brianna with you today would be a really good one, since it's like LinkedIn. This is a place where folks are like looking for jobs. This is a place where like recruiters are looking for amazing talent. And I thought that just hearing from a very recent grad, by the way, again, congratulations. I just thought it would be interesting to sort of hear about like what it's like, for you in graduating in the time of coronavirus and Black Lives Matter and no travel and like all the stuff that's going on in the world. Like, it's just different. When I graduated in 2001, and in December 2001, and in September, the Twin Towers fell. So it was like in a kind of a similar situation, but there's just nothing that compares to what we're going through right now. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about post-COVID. I guess, well, we're in the heat of COVID still, but post-graduation and what I've been up to.
And you graduated in May, is that right?
Yep.
And so what were your degrees or degree?
So I graduated from USC with a bachelor's in communication. And I studied film production beforehand at community college, Santa Monica Community College. Got my associate's degree in film production before.
Oh, very cool. I also have a minor in film, right? So like, that's awesome. How was your experience at Annenberg? Was it good? Or what were some of your favorite like classes and things that you did there?
Yeah, I absolutely loved Annenberg. Coming from community college, you just kind of like taking classes in order to transfer. That's like the stepping stone to get there. And then just finally going to Annenberg and being in my dream school. And then, just having to study some of the greatest theorists of communication. At first, very difficult, like trying to analyze like Marxism and all those major theorists is just very challenging, but it made you think outside the box and think creatively and critically. So I definitely enjoyed that part of the process. I think my favorite class was probably communication and culture with Taj Frazier.
Ooh, tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, in the class was really hard. Like I said, you had to analyze Marxism and then use like Althusser or another ideologist in order to agree or disagree with their beliefs, and then produce your own beliefs on how we come to understand culture, how we come to identify ourselves, why we have these terms for gender or for sexuality. So it was a lot of thought-provoking questions of topics or ideas or just forms of movement that we don't typically think of on a day-to-day basis. And so it kind of just made me challenge myself in the way that I think of things as they are, and question like how things came to be, and just always looking back at the history and how communication specifically forms culture. So yeah,
totally. Yeah, I felt like when I was going through like classes in like comms classes, like all of these TV shows that I loved watching, or whatever, like the news, like I just remember my mind being like, oh, I am being manipulated.
Calling my mom up like, Mom, did you know X, Y, and Z? And she's like, what? know? And I'm like, yes, here's the article, here's multiple forms of research. So yeah, it was definitely, I would say college is definitely about like that revelation that you have of kind of unlearning a lot of the things that you accept as normal and then developing your own ideas about that. So
what were your plans for, like, you know, everyone, like when they're in school, they're like, after I graduate, I'm gonna do this. Like, what were your plans pre-COVID?
So I was on track to be a producer at NBCUniversal. I interned with the post-production and broadcast team for 2 years. And so, yeah, that was,
You're like, so that didn't work out.
He called me the day at the end of my internship, and he specifically said, like, we had every intention of hiring you, but the position just isn't there anymore. And so he said, you know, to keep on staying in touch, and once the position opens, you'll get a call. And so luckily enough, I've actually done some contract work with NBC since quarantine hit. So I was contracted like 2 weeks ago to do some like footage and B-roll stuff of a commercial that they're doing. So I'm happy in that way that I've been still able to stay in touch with the team. But it also, you know, just made me realize like how independent I am as a creative. I've always kind of been like, let's just figure it out, you know? So since that didn't go according to plan, I really took my own personal business full steam and had the time now to actually do that. And so I've launched a new show called In a Session. I'm currently working with 2 other brands to create content for their channels, and personal training is also my secondary love. So it's been,
oh my gosh,
it's been fun.
Classic, like slashy, right? Like you're like this slash. Wait, I want to show. So you have like major editing skills and also content creation skills, right? So I want to show folks this video. Tell us what we're gonna watch.
Yeah, so In a Session is a talk show with our host Neeson. He sits down with local creatives. This season, it's focused on LA. And what it's really about is just exposing what an artist is. So that could be a trumpet player, that could be a rapper, a producer, a dancer, just kind of giving more breadth to the term artist, having in-depth conversations with who they are, their upbringing, their journey, their triumphs and tribulations. And then in the end, they'll do a 30 to 45 second freestyle, whatever their artistry is. So if you're a rapper, you'll do a rap in the booth. If you're a trumpet player, you know, you'll play the trumpet. So we've had just great guests so far. We've had dancers that worked with Beyonce on Homecoming. We've had Kareem Grimes from the show, a CBS show. And so it's been a great experience to just be able to take this time and really develop our show in that way.
That's so cool. I love I love the 30 to 45 second, like now they just get to like riff and improv and go live, because I feel like that's when, you know, I mean, that's just when you can see like raw talent, right? And you feel like just this like sense of like, wow, like just amazing with artists and artistry. Okay, so hold on, let's bring this thing up, and I'm gonna press play. Oh. Are they just like drinking? They're just like chilling and like, that's amazing.
The tequila brand sponsored that episode, so we were able to.
Nice. It's some professional shit. You got some product placement in there.
We're trying, you know.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, who is that girl? She's so cute.
He's a voiceover artist.
Oh, wow. Oh, it's a man. That's so cool. Awesome. Okay, well that looked like fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. I mean, it's just, you know, getting to know these amazing creatives and being able to feel some type of connection to them, whether that's through their personal stories or just through their like raw talent of, you know, like at the end, most people are, they go and they go and they go for their freestyle, and there's a time where they're like, I messed up there. But that feeling gives you, you know, a place of connection there.
You're right, because everybody, like, I mean, it's a process, right?
Yeah, process 100%.
I always tell folks this story about like how I read how Picasso used to sneak in after hours to museums with like paint and like keep fixing his paintings because he felt like they weren't, like, even when they were hung up on the museum wall, like they weren't finished.
Yeah.
You know, super cool. Okay, so so then you're working on this now. Where do you think that the future is really headed for you? Like, do you think that, you know, so out of necessity, you're consulting and you're, you know, self-producing things? Do you think you're going to keep doing that? Or are you like looking for working in an office again? Like, what's the future?
Well, I think at the end of the day, before, like, my end goal was always to operate my own business. I just knew that working within a larger institution would provide me the means to do so. So I'd always work on my side, you know, my side dream in order to manifest that. But during this time, I'm able to do it now. So, yeah, so I think that I'll continue to just expand on my own skills. I'm building a team with who I'm producing with in this session. So we have 5 members now. We're still really small, but we're growing. Before it's just me and Nisa and the host. So, yeah, it's exciting to be able to control the content that we make, to also uplift the people that we recognize as talent in our immediate circles, and then, you know, reaching out into the local community to see like, okay, who do you think can be featured on our show, or who do you think has editing skills that might be able to, you know, do something with this footage that we haven't seen yet. So that's been exciting.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. How is it like producing like remotely? Like, what is that like, you know?
You know, it's challenging, but also we've been able to get some talent that we might have not been able to get if quarantine and COVID wasn't happening right now. So, you know, the most recent episodes that we've done, we haven't been able to do it at the scale, obviously, that, you know, we saw in the Sizzle. We've been doing kind of video podcasts, but we've also been able to talk to some amazing people that are on network television and that have the following and the just, you know, the accolades to show for. So it's been great in that sense, but I definitely do miss being on set. And well, we actually shot 2 more episodes since everything has happened, and it was definitely different because it was, again, limited to like 4 people at a time. Everyone is wearing masks, everyone's wearing gloves. Now everyone's spaced out. We have a long lens on, so you can't be too close to the camera. So yeah, that's been challenging, but it's been good. It's, you know, going with the flow with things.
How are your other friends, like, you know, like doing, like, is it, I mean, you seem to be, you're like, you were already planning on being an entrepreneur anyways. So, and I feel like actually, like, for a lot of like my other founder friends or entrepreneurs or freelancers, like, yes, things are hard, but like we're always used to the roller coaster. So it's like just a little bit steeper up and down. But generally the motion isn't that different. Like, how are your friends doing? Is it the same for them, or?
I think that it's been a little bit more challenging because some people are having to find out what their side hustle is going to have to be, or, you know, kind of develop new skills in order to start. Whereas people that have been doing 2 different jobs or have been able to kind of exist in 2 different spaces already have those skills to be like, oh, well, this side of film and TV is going down. Let's, you know, try something over here. So I definitely say it's a lot more challenging for those that have not like had to operate like that.
Mm-hmm. And like, you know, there's film, TV, and also sort of like online media, right? And like streaming. Like, are you thinking that like internet and like streaming is the future, or do you think that like, are you trying to like get to like shooting in 35 millimeter film again? Or like, what's your, how do you think about that? About media? Yeah.
It's funny because like right before all this happened, I just invested in a new camera and a bunch of gear. So that's hilarious. But honestly, I'm not quite sure. Every day is different. Like every day we have new regulations and new things happening. I do feel like going forward, every production should be equipped with the ability to do streams or something live through the internet, because you never know what's going to happen and how long this is going to be here for. So while everyone's in the same boat, everyone should figure out how do we adapt to the situation, because we're all stuck with the same 1080p and the same, bad internet service. So we might as well try to figure out how to make it work. So.
Mm-hmm. What advice or tips would you give to other recent grads who are in a similar situation as you?
I would say, when I first started, or when this all first started, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to write 2 scripts, 2 feature films, ready to go, edit all my projects, everything will be a copy. But I would say also take the time to be with yourself, take the time to do things that you're for yourself. So when companies are hiring and prospects are looking up, you are mentally ready to go back to the field that you should do. There's a lot going on. As much as just call it COVID, it's actually like affecting everyone's lives. So just be kind to yourself and, try to sleep. That's the thing I'm working on.
Yeah, like any sleeping tips, because that's like a thing too.
I don't know if anyone out in the audience has any tips.
Any sleeping tips? Yeah, tell us. We want to know sleeping.
I have that thing where I wake up early because I feel like I'm going to wake up late, so I just wake up like 3 hours earlier than I need to, and I'm like, went to bed 2 hours ago. It's completely fine.
I only do that, like, or used to do that, like, right before there was, like, a flight or, like, a trip where I had to, like, get in a, like, place with, like, I don't know, get somewhere else. Mm-hmm. I would always, and this is since I was, like, a little kid, like, I'd always wake up, like, 3 hours beforehand, and then I'd be like, shoot, I can't go back to sleep.
It's hard.
What advice or tips, like, or have you been on like job interviews and stuff like that too? Or are you just like 100% committed to like your own thing now?
Yeah, I've done some informational interviews just with companies that aren't hiring now, but when prospects open, that's kind of what I keep hearing. So yeah, I took those on and it was fun. I don't expect anything at the moment. I'm just, again, relying on myself. So.
Yeah, interesting. What what advice would you give to like people who are interviewing like recent grads?
I would say, for one, I think on LinkedIn specifically, there's a lot of job postings and it's kind of overwhelming because you're like, so are these open? Are they hiring? So I'd say, like, for job posters, like if you're actively recruiting, to keep it there. I think it's better to just have a position open rather than like have it open and then you're not hiring for the next 6 months. And I would say, if you can offer any recent grads contract work to begin to develop that relationship and just see if it's the right fit for your team, I feel like that's the best for both parties, because the person might see like, oh, I could eventually see myself doing this full time. And then the employer can see like, oh, this is a proof of concept that they can actually do what they say on their resume.
Yeah. And then like, how do you think about your contracts and how do you make sure that you're getting a fair deal? Do you worry about that at all or no? I'm just like curious, like, cause like freelancers and contracts, like, working with the big corporation, like, do you just like, are you just trusting that they're gonna have your best interest in mind with their contracts, or like things that you're like looking for, notice?
So right now, because my business partner and I are establishing ourselves as a production company, we are pretty much going out for local businesses. And so we're the ones making the contract. We're giving affordable prices, knowing the time and the assets and the value that we bring, but also, in light of the fact that a lot of people aren't working, a lot of people don't have the means to give you the money that a union would be paying. So we're trying to be that middle ground for people to still produce something high production value, but also affordable.
Cool. And like, I think it's really interesting, like how you are like just going from everything where you learned about like what media, you know, and communications and like what's happening on screen through comm school, right? And then just like the background in production. And then this moment right now where studios are literally like trying to like, who's a Black director? Who's like where's the talent? It's like, it's everywhere, you know, just like kind of like, you know, wondering if you have any like thoughts or thoughts about sort of how people of color are going to be, and Black people in particular, you know, will be represented in media and in culture going on. Do you feel hopeful about it, or do you think it's like a blip? Like, what do you think is going to happen?
You know, what's interesting is I wrote a paper about this before I graduated about like diversity and inclusion and how it's been buzzwords for, you know, years now, but it's always talked about in terms of in front of the camera and not always above the line. And so I think that in that same breath is that, yes, like we're going to probably see more Black protagonists in film and TV, but also like who controls the means of production and who's the head of content, who's the president of the company. That's what I want to personally see, more diversity, not just in the Black community, but like, you know, everywhere. So, you know, in sexuality and everything. So I think that I hope that companies take that into consideration, and, you know, that we're not just only seen in front of people's faces to be like, here you go, but also, you know, just having the livelihood, the same equality.
Yeah. There's like this whole thing where like J.K. Rowling and somebody else, right? Like we're like, stop cancel culture. And I was like, yo, people have gotten fired for less, right? Like, but I don't know. That's sort of like my opinion. And I feel like those folks who are in really high positions of power who, you know, make mistakes, like, cleaning them out like just makes more room and more space for new voices and folks who, you know, probably wouldn't do things like that. But I don't know, how do you feel about that? I think but I also think that there is something to like, I mean, just cancel culture in general, like you know, even like President Obama was like, we got to chill on cancel culture a little bit, but just wondering how you feel about that.
You know, I think we always go to the extreme of it, and it's a lot more complex than yes or no, wrong and right? Like, I feel like a lot of the times, especially in the news and the media, we like to simplify things especially with like how the news is portrayed, Black Lives Matter. It's like the protesters versus the police and this versus that. And it's not always that, you know, it's not always that simple. And history is not even that simple. So I think that we're dealing with complex times, and we've always been dealing with complex times, but it's up to us to kind of unravel the histories of who we are as a nation and who we are on social media. So cancel culture, like, I get it, and I do think that there should be a light on injustices, but I think that it needs to be to an extent like, how can we produce a solution instead of just saying this person's wrong. I think, who was it? Some cast member from Grey's Anatomy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't even know what Grey's Anatomy is.
Okay, well, Jesse, oh, I don't remember his name. But he said something really important about like, just like, yes, we can call these out, but we need to like provide people with like the steps to rehabilitate them into society. Like, this is what you should have done, or, you know, this is how you can redeem yourself. So I agree with that.
Okay, sorry. Ben Stiller popped up because he is like signaling to us that it is time to play our closing game. Okay. There's not, I miss, I do a happy hour thing, and I have like a DJ, and he like does all the sound effects for me, and like this is just like you and me, girl, up in StreamYard. Hey, okay, so thank you so much for the interview and sharing your thoughts. I know I asked you to think about and talk about things beyond just graduation, just about like media and culture and life. So thanks so much for being open, you know, to going there with me. Appreciate it. And okay, so every interview, I sort of just wrap it up with usually a game. And like I was telling you before, I usually play this game, Good Name Bad Search. But y'all, like, for anyone who keeps watching my things up to this point, by the way, love you. But but like, Brianna Devons is the only Brianna Devons. Like,
that's right, branded.
You don't even need to go TM paperwork. Like, it just is. Even like on Google, I was like, what? Like, this can't be possible. And I even did different iterations of Brianna Devons, and like, you are it. You are the one.
So happy. Wow.
It's amazing. So I can't play that game. So I thought I made up a game on the fly. And what I did was I took 3 people, and they are famous people. And your job is to guess which of them is an SC or a UCLA alumni.
Oh, okay.
Okay, right? So we're going to start with Senor Stiller.
Oh, for sure, USC.
Okay, all right. SC, and then let's see, next up.
Oh, you don't tell me if I'm right or wrong? Oh.
I'll tell you at the end.
Okay.
Jaleel White, a.k.a. Urkel.
That's him?
That's
I recognize him.
That's him as like an older person.
He wears the glasses. Wow.
I know, right? I wish I could like doodle on him. Like,
this is hard. All right, UCLA. Oh, I don't know, but yeah.
Okay, so Urkel went to UCLA, right? And then last up, another funny man, Will Ferrell.
Commencement speech, USC.
SC all the way, right? We'll claim Will. Have you seen his Swedish movie, by the way?
No, but I need to.
Oh my God, it's just like him making fun of like really white people. It's funny. It's really funny. And those are the results.
Damn.
Ben Stiller went to UCLA.
Really? I had no
I was
idea.
shocked by that too.
I feel like, I don't know, I saw his face and I was like, that's a USC face, but no, UCLA.
Yeah, crazy. Well, fight on, Brianna. So glad. So glad that you're alumni with me now. Excited to thanks for like letting me be your mentor. I feel like you like this, and this is a great thing for anyone who hasn't done like a mentor-mentee like relationship before. Like, I learned just as much from Brianna as probably more.
Let me take notes. Hold on.
I'm always like, wait, how do you know they're not taking advantage of your contract? Like, that's the only thing. Like, I just like try to like help like hide you from all the evil that like I had to live through in the come up. But so great to have you. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you around.
Thank you. See you next time.
Bye. All right. So wasn't you delightful? I am really glad that you joined us this far. Tomorrow, Thursday at 5 p.m., I'm going to plug our happily hour that we're doing. I'm so excited about this happily hour because it's a really big experiment that we're inviting everybody to be a part of. And what we're doing is we took this virtual escape room idea that was created by adventure architects. Shout out to Noah and Karina. And what we did is they had a virtual escape room for 6 people, and they brought it to us, and they're like, hey, like let's maybe we could do something with this. And I was like, yeah, but 6 people isn't like enough to sort of engage other folks. It's like hard to like repeat that. So what we did is we added in this sort of like virtual added in this kind of like reality TV element to it, so that the experience and a little bit of Hunger Games-ishness. So the experience could be something where 6 people participate in it, but then there is interactive viewing. We're coming up with new things here, folks. So interactive viewing, and also it's entertaining, or people like create characters. I want to show you a trailer that our editors made for this, so that you can check and see what's going on. This is going to be Thursday at 5 o'clock PST. So hold on, let me cue it up here, and behold. what you're going to see is a meet the crew experience for Happily Hours.
Hello, I am Ernest Shackleton. I've decided to go and take on this massive undertaking because this is actually the last remaining major land crossing that exists on this great planet Earth.
Yes, my name is Clyde Jane. I'm a suffragist from London proper, and I believe that the best statement that I can make is by going on this expedition and proving that women are brave enough, they are smart enough, they are resourceful enough to win the vote. And so if I have to go abroad to prove it, that's what I'll do.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the name X for now. I'm a librarian by trade, and so I'm really good at doing research, and I ask all the tough questions. And I'm going on this expedition because I did some bad things. Well, actually, I didn't do them. I've been accused of doing them. I did not do them. I have not done those things, but I need to get away.
Hi, yeah, I am Catherine Swade, and I'm going on this expedition because it seems like a whole lot of trouble, and I often find myself in the role as counselor. I don't think I've really faced endurance, but I'm ready.
My name is Antonio Cabrales. I come from Argentina. I'm escaping the war back home, and there isn't much I can say about that. Like, I don't know, I have to figure this out.
So that's Happily Hours. That's the plan. All of those people, by the way, they're not actors except for Calliope, the suffragette. Shireen is a legit actress. You can tell she's great. But this is a virtual escape room that's designed for anyone to experience. You can join it with and we designed it specifically for companies to do with their teams. And we'll be debuting it actually this Friday to the public at 5 p.m. And then like at 7 p.m. like the same day, we're gonna reproduce the room for the team at VMware, who's given us the trust and the faith to be our first customers on this. So it's going to be pretty exciting. We hope you'll join us and just see what can be done. And all of this, by the way, is like happening in Zoom, which is also crazy. So just seeing what can be done when you put a little bit of like creativity and storytelling to the virtual meetings format. So thanks again so much for joining us. I will see you next week or maybe tomorrow. Bye.